So YouTube requires consistency in order for you to see any sort of growth. In fact, I'd argue it's probably going to be your #1 success factor, which is also why it can be the hardest part. Up until a few months ago, Curtis and I both worked 9-to-5 jobs on top of this YouTube channel, but we're able to put out weekly videos for 2 years. So here are some tips that helped us put out content consistently that I know are gonna help you out too. And the first one's multitasking. And speaking of which, Curtis and I live pretty sedentary lives, I hate to say it. Most of our day is spent at the computer editing or answering emails, so I've been working really hard to try and get my daily steps up. So in the interest of multitasking, let's try to get some steps in while I talk to you. I'm not talking about doing everything all at once, but rather sneaking these little moments in where you can. A good example of this one is script writing for us. So when I know Curtis and I have a long drive coming up or we're out on our morning walks, I'll open the Notes app or the Google Docs app and I'll use talk to text to get a rough draft of a script done. It's using time that would be otherwise kind of idle to do something productive. In fact, I wrote most of the script of this video while I was waiting for supper to be ready in the oven. It's about stealing little moments throughout the week that are really gonna start to add up, and for me, it helps relieve some of that mental pressure. Look how beautiful this park is. So my next tip for you guys is to be mindful of what content you're creating. Now, this one comes with a giant asterisk, but I'll get to that in just 1 second. When I'm talking about being mindful of what content, when you have a limited quantity of videos that you can produce, you want to try your best to make sure that every single one of them is hitting in the search results. This means doing lots of pre-filming research, using resources like TubeBuddy, and strategizing your titles and thumbnails. This might also mean foregoing things like vlogs or things that aren't searchable or you don't have a good strategy for. Also, cut yourself some slack and make some videos that are easier for you to film. For example, if you do lots of tourism content that requires you to be out and about, try scheduling in some videos that only require one location to film. Curtis's real estate channel is actually another great example of this. We love doing house tours. It's a core content that we want to put out on the channel, but maybe there aren't great houses to tour or it doesn't work for our schedule, in which case we have other content that we can film. Still relatable, still searchable, but there's something that we can film right at home and relieve a little bit of pressure off of our schedule. Now, there was a convenience store back there, and I'm feeling like we deserve a Slurpee for all of this walking. Okay, so here's where my giant asterisk comes into play. Yes, you want to try to make sure that all of your videos hit, but we've talked about a few things before. First, that we've seen videos that don't perform well at the beginning pop off to get tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of views. And we've also talked about making 100 crappy videos before you'll ever find your voice or maybe even what kind of content you want to produce. So if you're worried about search or a video not ranking and that's what's going to stop you, don't. If this is content that you really love or you want to try out, just post the damn video. Oh my God, you guys, I'm pooped. My daily goal was 10,000 steps, and so far today I've taken 12,976 steps. I think I've overshot my goal just a little bit. But my next tip for you guys is to find time in your schedule elsewhere. Now, there's a good chance that when it comes to making videos and your YouTube channel that there aren't a lot of tasks that you can pass off to somebody else. But I think the good news is that there's a good chance that there are other things in your life that you can pass on. For example, a grocery delivery service or a meal subscription service so that you don't have to go out and grocery shop, or paying somebody to come help you out with the housework. And I know, why would you pay somebody to come clean your house when you know how to do that for free? And I think the best way that I can justify this or explain this is that that time that you could have spent cleaning your house can now be spent doing something like pitching a brand. And there's a good chance that that brand deal is going to make you 2 or 3 times the amount that you would have saved not paying somebody to come clean your house. And I know if you're anything like Curtis and I, you just want to be able to do everything yourself and you just want to handle it all. But it's okay to admit that you don't have time for everything and to acknowledge that there's a good chance that your quality of life could be better if you do pass some of these tasks off. But I desperately need a drink of water now. Now, my next tip, I actually learned from Matthew McConaughey, of all people. I heard him on a podcast talking about productivity, but I actually really liked the tip and I use it all the time. And that's to make an extremely detailed to-do list. Like, I mean, over the top detailed. So instead of just putting post a YouTube video on your to-do list, you're breaking it down into like the smallest categories possible. Have you optimized your description? Have you searched your tags? Have you double checked your thumbnail? Like, I don't know, as detailed as possible. But then on top of that, to also put lots of things that are gonna happen naturally throughout your day anyhow. So things like drink water, call your mom, I don't know, make dinner. And that satisfaction that you get from actually being able to go through and check off a really detailed to-do list and see that progression and completion happening is gonna help keep you motivated and help keep you productive. I love it. I love the satisfaction of checking off something off my to-do list. So I use that one all the time. And my last tip is time blocking and batch creating. So time blocking just means going through your calendar and putting in very detailed tasks and blocking out an exact hour for them and an exact time frame for them. Also, consistency breeds consistency. So if you think that you can set aside the same hour every day, maybe an hour before work, to work on your YouTube content, that's gonna help create a routine and help you to keep your YouTube schedule. Now, let's say the same hour every day doesn't work for your schedule. Well, then batch creating is gonna be your biggest helper. This means maybe setting aside 2 days a month to create all your content. One day where it's just dedicated to scripting and planning, and maybe another day that's just dedicated to filming. In fact, it's summertime and Curtis and I know that our schedule is just gonna keep getting busier and busier. So the next 3 days for us are content days. We've got at least a video to film every day. And think about it, 4 days worth of filming gives us a month worth of content. So it doesn't seem that bad when you break it down into chunks like that. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys want to see more of our weekly videos, please hit that like button. It helps us out. Hit that subscribe button and we'll see you guys in the next one.